What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new glorious episode of the Out of the Basement podcast. You're listening to episode 72. 72.
Getting up there.
We're getting old.
We need a hip replacement soon.
Yeah. I'm one of your hosts.
10 years ago, but Medicare won't pay for it. Senior citizen problems.
Nate Martin, and I'm joined with Connor Lindsay.
Teriyaki sauce!
And Stephen Buckrop.
Yep.
And we've got a great episode for you. We're going old school, all right? A little bit of a story time here. We just took 2 weeks off the podcast because there's been literally nothing to talk about.
And honestly, even if there is something to talk about, we don't feel like talking about it.
We're kind of all sick of the movie news thing right now, so we're going back to the OG version of this podcast where we watch a movie and talk about said movie on the podcast. Maybe here and there we'll do some movie news in the future, but for right now, that's what we're trying to do. And this episode is going to be about the hit, hold on, let me make sure I get the year right here. Drum roll, please, someone. The hit 1991 science fiction action film, The Guyver.
I am the Guyver.
Or if you live in Europe, Mutronics.
Is that the European title?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Directed by Screamin' Mad George and Steve Wang, a little co-direction there. Starring Mark Hamill, anyone? Mark Hamill?
Yes, that Mark Hamill.
Never heard
Yes. Luke Skywalters.
Wanted to go to Tashi Station to get some power converters.
This time he's hunting zoonoids. So,
That plot sounds zoonoise.
Or zoonoid.
before we get into that, however, I do want to give I saw 3 movies that are pretty relevant that I just want to talk about briefly. Number 1 is Ouija 2, Origin of Evil, which was really good, shockingly good, probably one of the best PG-13 horror movies I've ever seen. It was actually pretty spooky and well made. And it was directed by Mike Flanagan, who directed Hush and another movie that's escaping my mind at this moment. I also saw Doctor Strange, which was a real snoozer, pretty boring, average, run-of-the-mill superhero origin story. They tried to do something different with the end. However, just because they did something different doesn't mean it's necessarily good. I thought Doctor Strange was a very okay movie. And finally, I saw Arrival, starring Amy Adams.
I thought it was pronounced Arrival.
Can you translate this?
Which, again, was a pretty okay movie, in my opinion.
Didn't blow your stuff. Didn't blow you.
Didn't blow me away.
It wasn't this generation's Close Encounters with the Third Kind?
Of the third kind?
Whatever.
I thought that there should have been more to Arrival, and I didn't see a trailer for the movie or anything, but the marketing, once again, the tagline was, "Why are they here?" And the only answer you ever get to "Why are they here?" is a really vague, just blanket statement answer from them, and it's kind of disappointing.
They're like, we're here to harvest the planet, or
No.
something generic.
There's no action scenes or anything like that in this movie.
I wasn't implying that.
I want your soul.
Well, the aliens, they're not there to destroy Earth. Is what I mean.
So it wasn't this generation's Mars attacks.
No. So, but I also understand that the whole point of the movie is not really about the aliens. It's about the revelation that Amy Adams has as a character.
I mean, it
Which
sounds
is
interesting enough, I guess, for...
It's 2 hours of talking. It's real boring. Looked good, though. Had some nice visuals.
It was visually stunning. But it was
I wouldn't say visually stunning. I would say
visually pleasing.
yes. To bring it down a notch, you know.
Yeah, not even aesthetically pleasing. Visually.
Yes. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm really disappointed in this year. Like when we're gonna try and do our, top 10 movies later or whatever, top 5, because
We're gonna do our top 10 movies, but then my list is just literally gonna be nothing from 2016. I'll be like, so I watched The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
I watched Dr. Zhivago.
yeah,
Like, I'm just gonna name a bunch of random movies. You're like, Connor, that's not.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna have to really dig deep.
I haven't been to the movies in a while. Like this week was the first time in a while where I actually got to see a couple movies.
And the best movie experience I had this year was going to see Big Lebowski.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, The Big Lebowski was a great time. Because it's always a great time. I'm the dude. Anyways, alright guys, let's talk about the Guyver. So, little story time.
I mean, right off the bat, the cover art is misleading.
Yes, the cover art for the Guyver is the actual costume of the Guyver and Mark Hamill's face. Mark Hamill,
Spliced.
yes. Mark Hamill is not the Guyver in this movie.
He's a ragtag detective. He's
Let
been around the block a few times.
let that be known right off the bat. But what I was gonna say is that me and Connor, I showed Connor this movie years ago, along with the sequel, Guyver 2 Dark Hero, which I would assume we're going to watch eventually and do an episode about that too.
Or we'll just talk about it because Buck's out.
Yeah. But
No. I want to watch this.
Okay.
see, that's the thing though. So
Yeah.
when I showed Connor the Guyver, we did a double feature because I was like, you got to lower your expectations with
Yeah.
with the first movie, so that the second movie looks fucking awesome. Because
Yeah.
the second movie is not very good either. But when you compare it to the first one, you're like, yeah, this isn't so bad. And it's also rated R, and there's like blood and stuff. And he straight up just like kills people, no questions asked, like humans, normal dudes. But yeah, so the first time we did that, I showed it like that to Connor. But we just watched the first movie today.
Mind you, that was also back when Nate and I used to pull all-nighters and just watch random
Like
weird fucking
the
shit.
documentaries about H.H. Holmes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or like fucking...
Dude, me and Connor scared the shit out of ourselves one night because we watched that.
Wasn't that on Netflix?
This
Yeah.
was during... There was like a blizzard. We were like... Nate like... We lived in the same neighborhood, so Nate like... We couldn't drive. It was illegal to drive that day. So then like Nate made a pilgrimage to my house. He like...
I bundled up.
hiked.
It was one of those days where it was so cold that like my mustache and my eyelashes were frozen by the time I got over to Connor's house, which Connor only lives 4 streets over from
Yeah.
me.
Were you guys still in school at this point?
This was like after high school.
Okay,
No,
so I know exactly the time period. 'Cause I was working at GFS at the time.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
like late
And
2013, early 2014.
And shoveling the parking lot in negative 40-degree weather.
But they made a pilgrimage to my house, and then we like he brought a bunch of Blu-rays and stuff and whatever. But then we were like in my basement. We were like sleeping down there on the futon,
Uh-huh.
and also I think I let you use the Tauntaun sleeping bag. But then we're watching the H.H. Holmes documentary, and the door
The door
just opens.
the door to the basement opens because sometimes, very rarely at Connor's house, like when the air kicks on or something, it knocks his basement door open.
But we were just like, fuck.
But we were watching that, so we were already creeped out, and then the door goes, and we're like, we're dead. That's it. The ghost of H.H. Holmes is here to torture us.
In my home for some reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, so,
Home for
and
H.H.
for
Holmes.
me, the Guyver, I've been watching since I was a little kid. I remember distinctly always renting the VHS tape from Blockbuster. A consistent rental of this movie. And so I've always loved it, and it's great. But Buck hasn't seen it. This is his first time seeing the Guyver, so what I think we should do is you give your synopsis of what you think the movie's about.
Movie's actually about.
As a
Okay.
first-time watcher, and kind of just your face throughout the viewing was just like, you started, you were super stoked. You were like, yes, this is gonna be awesome. Then the frown just starts setting in, and then the tilted head, and then the arm, where you're just like, oh, fucking K.
I didn't feel like killing myself until the first fight scene.
Because there's really only two fight scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
If you don't count the
initial battle sequence, but
The second one, the ending sequence is okay. Like, that's fine. Like, if they would have done something else with the first, or like, because I feel like the majority of the movie are those two scenes. And barely anything else happens outside of those two scenes.
You'd be 100% correct, I would assume.
Now, I know we watched the director's cut. Is there, like, a theatrical cut that's...
I'm pretty sure the DVD I have is not the true director's cut, because I think the only way you can do that is if you get the German Blu-ray or DVD. That one actually has the blood in it, because I don't think this one is the actual director's cut, because the movie's only 88 minutes long. So it's super short.
The fight scenes are even longer.
Oh.
Yeah. So, what is the Guyver about?
It's about aliens that left behind some gene splicing in humans, and apparently, it's not really stated, but apparently they kind of left behind multiple Guyver units that can stand up to these alien monsters of humans. And
The Zoonoids.
yeah, so this big evil corporation full of zoonoids are trying to locate these Guyver units so nobody can use them against them, and then they can have all the power. Well, one of the scientists goes rogue, and it ends up falling into the wrong hands of a I guess early 20s person. And he becomes the Guyver and goes up against this evil corporation.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I realized by the look on your faces that I was getting too specific, like hitting too many things in the movie. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna speed this up. But
no, it's funny because the movie starts out bombarding you with like a minute-long narration about the universe of the Guyver, telling you about the creatures known as the Zoonoids and their leader, the Zoolord, have to destroy the Guyver unit.
I feel like if this movie if it wasn't PG-13 and if actually more marketed towards kids, would actually be better.
I mean, like you said it, we've always described the Guyver as PG-13 Power Rangers, but you really made the ultimate connection when you said that this was like live-action Beetleborgs.
Well, Beetleborgs is live action to begin with, Nate.
I mean PG-13 Beetleborgs.
That face.
PG-13 Beetleborgs.
I just blew his mind.
Yeah, you did.
But yes, I just wanted to be a dick. But
Because, yeah, I know, because you are a dick.
How do I know I'm a dick girl, addicted to you.
How do I know it? How do I know it's you? You're a dick.
okay.
Thanks,
Oh,
guys.
X-Men 1.
What do they call you? Wheels?
The best joke ever made in the entire franchise.
I don't think that joke would fly today.
it would.
Wolverine is not PC.
Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't fly. It would roll.
Oh.
Whew. So, yes. Anyways, the movie starts out with CIA agent Max Reed, played by Mark Hamill.
He's a loose cannon agent.
I've gotta
that's
say-
been in the CIA for too long.
I've got to say, I would love to see a movie about just that character.
Yeah.
What's his week look like? What's his origin story?
Yeah, I want to see his origin.
I like how the two cronies that are clearly from the get-go working for the Kronos Corporation are always trying to bully him, but he's always like, I'm not even on the clock. The whole movie he's like, I'm not on the clock. They're like, you can't be snooping around, and he's like, I'm not on the clock. It's just so funny that like every time it was like they were trying to like have some sort of conflict for Max.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, what do we do? Like, other CIA agents that want him to dismiss the case for no real reason other than
It would have worked if they weren't just following him around all the time. Like, if he
they-
just, like, would go back to headquarters and then they would give him shit, like,
Yeah.
that'd be fine.
they keep saying it's out of our hands now.
Yeah. The way they introduce those two characters is it's, Mark Hamill's alone waiting for this meeting, and then, he jumps over to the thing, and then all of a sudden the camera, you look up, and there's just two guys following him down the dam. Like, who the fuck are those guys?
Just no real introduction, just like, hey, what are you doing?
I mean, I've got to say, I might have, it's been a while since I've watched this movie,
Uh-huh.
but I about died, I think we all did, when he's in Misky's apartment, there's a knock on the door, instantly pulls the gun on, he's like, let me, you never
better
know.
let me.
The way he delivers that line, though, let me, you never know. Like, he's like, I want to kill someone right now.
Mark Hamill's acting in this movie is top notch. It's definitely.
He's the best actor in this movie.
Well, yeah.
That's not saying much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark, I love you, but
So,
let's face facts.
Agent Detective Luke Skywalker
I keep wanting to say Dale Cooper.
witnesses the murder of Dr. Tetsu Sagawa, who's a researcher that went rogue, like Buck said, from the Kronos Corporation. He stole the Guyver unit, and that is a big no-no. The big head cheese, the Zoalord, he's pissed, and he is sending his goonies after them with none other than the bald guy from The Hills Have Eyes and the guy from Good Times.
And the guy on YouTube that tried to get everyone to vote for Hillary.
Dang. Political humor. But yeah. the other
I
highlight
like how my head just went...
the other highlight of this movie is, Connor's favorite character. What's that actor's name in real life?
Who are you talking about?
Dynamite.
Oh. I just keep wanting to call him JJ.
Yeah.
It's like something Walker. Jimmy Walker.
JJ Walker.
Let's see. Jimmy Walker
Yep.
as MC Stryker. Dynamite. Yeah, so he's in the movie he's the kind of the comedic relief of the movie,
But
if
yet
you will.
he gets the most screen time.
And
it
randomly
seems like.
raps with music behind him several times.
Yes, it is the ultimate in horror and cringe. And I know we're trying to not say cringe, but boy, is it rough at some points in the movie.
Did this come out in theaters?
Yes.
Okay, they had a $3 million budget, which not much even for back then.
Yeah.
What did it make back?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure this did come to theaters. Maybe it didn't, though. I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, well.
But
Earlier-
anyways,
yeah.
Earlier I joked that this movie had a $30 million budget, but I was literally exaggerating the blown up budget, and I was like, actually divide that by 10, that's probably what it was.
the reality is the reboot will have the $30 million budget.
But due to
I'm down.
inflation, it's roughly...
But yeah, so
It needs live action justice. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen Dark Hero yet, but
Dark Hero's pretty good, man. I'm telling you. But so anyways, the gang of the Zoanoids comes and hunts down Dr. Sagawa, and they're confronting him in a Los Angeles by the river thing. And,
Teriyaki sauce.
and they're shouting about teriyaki sauce for some reason, but we know earlier that Dr. Sagawa made a little switcheroo and put the Guyver unit in a lunchbox and then put a toaster in his briefcase.
there's a toaster hanging around a construction site.
Yes. Now those poor construction workers won't be able to get their, toast on in the morning. They have all this, nice soft white bread and butter, but nothing to do with it. So they confront him, and then it's revealed that Dr. Sagawa is also a zoonoid because he turns into a giant fish monster, and then he gets killed by the leader, who's the main guy from the original Hills Have Eyes, and he crushes his head and says, your can is packed tuna fish, or something like that, as he crushes his skull in.
See, that's a big positive in this movie is the humor. It's dumb, but it's funny. Like, if you take it for what it is.
Oh, I feel like this movie is self-aware. Like, I'm pretty sure it knows that it's really stupid.
It's sort of like the...
because this is from the team that made Reanimator.
It's like the Shaq Fu of superhero movies.
You know, yeah, I could see that. But, you know, it's from the guys that made Reanimator. They have a sense of humor. And the people who were involved with Bride of Reanimator, which is an insane movie.
I love Bride of Reanimator.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. So, then we head over to the main lackey of the Zoalord delivers the briefcase, but they, find out that it's a toaster, and he's real pissed. The main character, the main villain, Fulton Balkis, is apparently his name. He was not happy that it's just a toaster. Although later in the movie we see him, utilizing his tragedy, and making some, toast.
Yep, but not successful.
Yeah, he burnt that toast, and he only got more angry.
Bread goes in, toast comes out. What happens to the bread?
Here's my question:
Jesus,
was there ever a time when
you can't explain that?
Okay, correct. I'm not a toaster expert here, but I would assume since this is in 1991 that at least at this point they had toasters that had automatic timers on them.
I would assume.
Hopefully. So
that seems like a no-brainer innovation to toasters.
Hey, we got one of those in my house. Doesn't stop my mom from burning the toast every morning. Am I right? Huh?
Rats. So we're introduced then at a dojo to our titular hero, Sean, and his love interest, Mizki?
Yep, definitely.
With Mark Hamill showing up to reveal to Mizki that, her dad was just brutally murdered by horrible alien creatures, and she's next.
Your father's dead.
And with a super
it was weird
super duper dubbed voice scene for both of them, for Mark Hamill and Mizki.
But when he recalls seeing the murder, just great. We all talked about the teriyaki sauce light, how weird that is, and then Mark Hamill's like, it was violent and strange, and then you hear teriyaki sauce.
I don't understand the reference. I don't get it. What does it mean?
I think he was being racist.
Because he was a fish?
No, because he was an Asian guy.
Oh. Well, he does say he wants to turn him into sushi too.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
So the sushi could be alluding to the fact that he's
a fish.
But
is he only a fish because he's an Asian man?
Probably. And the fish looks like a koi fish, honestly.
Let's move on.
We're uncovering
trigger.
Sean's not paying attention in his class to his kung fu instructor, even though it's not kung fu. I don't know what it is, but
I think it was a kendo.
Yeah, still. He's not paying attention. He's looking over at Mizki because she's crying, and he gets asked to demonstrate a move with a minor villain in the movie.
Street Thug number 1.
Street Thug number 1. Oh, man, what is that guy's name? I think it's something really silly, I feel. Maybe.
Is he even listed? Because I feel like he probably wouldn't even be listed.
Yeah, he's not even listed. But that guy gets mad, and he punches Sean in the face for not paying attention while they were trying to practice their kung fu. And that'll set up for a little confrontation later.
I like when they get in the scuffle, though. They just forget all their kendo training and martial arts training and just roll around a little bit on the floor.
Again, it was like us.
Well, look, they didn't want to pay for the actual training of those two actors. They were just like, just do this stance, and then, kind of just start rolling on the ground. It's because it was a street fight.
They're not real mat rats.
Yeah.
And we recognize that. For obvious reasons.
That's what we're going to see in the new Power Rangers movie.
So, after class, Sean follows Reed and Mizki to the crime scene, and he is, so cool and hip and fortunate that he finds the Guyver unit in the lunchbox and takes it for his own. Because who doesn't just take strange alien objects? This looks cool. I'm going to take this for myself.
And let's be real, it kind of looks like, what someone might think a bomb looks like back then.
I would think, because it kind of has like a weird H.R. Guyver vibe to it, like when it's just in a little thing, I'd think some alien shit, which I guess it is alien shit, and I'd be like...
They make it very clear it's alien in origin. Lots of things are.
I would just fucking leave that there. Just maybe...
That's why you're not the Guyver.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, probably if I was the Guyver, a lot of my problems in life would be solved. Because at least I'd be a cool superhero. So he finds it, and then on his way home, his scooter breaks down, and in a back alley where a cool gang of cool fellas come to confront him and rob him potentially of his UCLA merchandise. Because not only does Sean have a UCLA shirt on, he also wears UCLA underwear throughout the movie. He really wants to, go there for college, perhaps.
Yeah.
But he gets confronted by a gang, and they're prodding him and calling him Kung Fu Man because he's trying to defend himself. And then a great line is uttered from the character earlier that fought him in the dojo, because he's also a member of this gang. They go, "You know this fool?" And he goes, "Yeah, we threw down before." And just the way he says it is so fucking stupid. But then, Sean gets his ass beat, and he hits his head on the Guyver unit because it falls out of his backpack. And then he, through a horrible transformation, turns into a really badass character. Great suit design in this movie. Dead accurate to the original, manga anime thing. Because if you didn't know, this is based off of a manga/anime. Loosely, I would say.
Very loosely.
Very, very loosely. And then when Sean becomes the Guyver, he realizes that he can kick a ton of ass.
And throw people.
And pretty much every single
He
fight...
just blocks, throw.
Every single fight in this movie with the Guyver usually results in a block, throw the guy with obnoxious wind sound effect that's like... And they crash into, some cardboard boxes or something like that. He, for some reason, doesn't realize he looks like a horrible alien creature monster, only until the final gang member is holding up a reflective silver platter and he could see his form.
It's even a hubcap.
Was it a hubcap?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a hubcap. Couldn't see, when he's punching, when he's throwing, that his hands clearly have stuff on them. None of that. He only notices when he sees his reflection in the hubcap.
Yeah.
He screams no, and the suit goes into the back of his neck. Like, it all, detaches from his body in a really cool way and is stored in the back of his neck. So, after that, Sean goes to Miski's apartment and discovers Sensei's been murdered. And Miski's gone. And this also breaks into another fight because...
And this is most of the movie.
And this is the lead into, I would say, the next 45 minutes of the movie. Basically, the two characters, the guy from Good Times and the other lackey who... For the sake of not giving a rip what his name is, he's the elephant Zoanoid. Mm-hmm. Kidnap Miski and do the classic wrap her up in a carpet and put her in a van, which Buck's real familiar with bodies getting wrapped up in carpets.
Oh, I was like, what? Oh, yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
That is a story for spooky stuff. We may have already talked.
I don't think...
I don't know if we've ever talked about that story, but we will one day.
Yeah.
For now.
We'll keep you on the edge of your seat.
The mystery remains. But obviously, they're talking about kidnapping her, and Sean clearly overhears them, no problem.
And they're just openly screaming out in the street, yeah, we're gonna kidnap this girl.
They're like, yeah, she's in her van, we just kidnapped her, her. And he clearly hears them, and he's like, hey, what the hell? And then Mark Hamill shows up too, and we get to see, Sean do the classic 2 bottles to the back of 2 people's heads for a double knockout.
And then Mark Hamill's like, hey, what the hell's going on here?
Could be trouble. Could be trouble.
They got Misky. And then so Misky and
Get going.
Yeah, and that is the reoccurring theme in this movie too. Is anytime a character is telling another character to run away, they only say "get going." No other point in time do they say like "run now." They're just like "get going" every single time.
Hit him with the.
Yeah. So Sean and Misky are running to a warehouse with Mark Hamill closely behind them. And it should also be noted that Mark Hamill did all of his own stunts in this movie.
that spawned a recurring joke with me and Nate for, I think, we don't do it as much anymore, but it used to be Mark Hamill picking up women, and then they're trying to pick up women and going, hey, baby, want some fries with that shake?
Yeah. So, the Zoonoids get Misky again, and Sean transforms into the Guyver to start an epic fucking 30-minute battle.
To the funkiest fight music you will ever hear.
And not much happens.
It is the weirdest, like, just corniest music. It's almost indescribable how ridiculous it is. It sounds like fucked up circus music. Just like playing the whole, like the fight scenes are literally to like a variation of. So they fight and fight forever and ever, and Mark Hamill falls down a flight of stairs, and it's really funny. And then eventually, Sean gets headbutted by the main Zoonoid, who's the character from The Hills Have Eyes, and he has a big bone in his forehead. So he knocks it against the circular part of the Guyver unit on the head of Sean, which damages him, and he keeps doing it, and then he loses control and kills the girl, the bad Zoonoid girl, and he thinks he's also killed Misky, but she's actually okay. She's just, knocked unconscious, and he gets, upset, and he's about to do his little chest burst attack when the main Zoonoid rips the control metal, which I guess is the name of that, out of his head, thus killing Sean and melting him into a pile of goop.
Killing him. So you think.
Now, it's funny that you should mention like how easily I breezed past that segment, and that's about 30 minutes of the movie. Mm-hmm. It is because that's how much nothing happens.
Yep.
It's just
I mean, from that fight scene on, to explain what happens in the movie is a breeze.
Yeah. So, Misky wakes up at the Kronos headquarters, and Balkis shows her around, gives her a nice tour. He's basically playing the same character he plays in Reanimator. He's coming on to Misky. It's very weird. He's like touching her lips while she's asleep, and he's talking about her beauty and stuff. And then we're introduced to the greatest character in the Guyver, Dr. East, played by none other than Jeffrey Combs, who is obviously Dr. Herbert West in Reanimator.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I would probably rather meet Jeffrey Combs than Bruce Campbell at this point in my life. It's higher on my list.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Campbell's always on the con circuit, and you never see Jeffrey Combs, so it'd be a rare treat to get to meet him and just be like, dude, Dr. East.
Loved you in the Guyver.
I would, okay, legitimately, I wouldn't have him sign my copy of Reanimator or Bride of Reanimator. I would have him sign my copy of the Guyver.
That's like, wouldn't you, if you met Mark Hamill, wouldn't you kind of rather just see what happens if you held up that?
Yeah.
And, like, imagine already having the Jeffrey Combs signature and just being like, please sign this. I bet he'd be cool about it.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill seems like a cool, rational dude. he'd probably be like, "Oh, people know about this." But yeah, so Dr. East is the head of the genetics research and discovers that the control metal is regenerating itself into a new Guyver unit. And we see that Max is now tied up in a tank and being transformed and experimented on. Mizki retaliates by kneeing Balkis right in the balls. And and Dr. East hits us with another solid line of dialogue with the ooh and
the head movement and everything.
and the perfect like head and facial movement to go along with the ooh.
I unintentionally predicted that nut shot.
And this is where Buck started getting excited because he thought the Guyver unit was going to be fusing with Mizki because she's holding it in her hand and you see it growing on her hand. And when you said that, I've never thought of that before, but like, how awesome would that have been?
That would have been fucking amazing. And
Like,
then
if
Guyver 2 would have been about Mizki.
Like if
her revenge.
Like if Sean would have just died and then Mizki would have took over the mantle. Like, I think we just need to write an alternate Guyver comic book or
yeah,
something.
Spider-Gwen?
So.
Ooh.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
the Myver Miss Guyver.
Miss Guyver. Girlver. You've heard of the Guyver, but have you heard of the Girlver?
Sedative?
Which also,
With a metal intro.
we're gonna end this episode with the theme song to the Guyver, and everyone's gonna get hyped. All right, because it's a fantastic theme song.
It is.
So, anyways, pretty much everyone in the lab is a zoonoid, and they all turn into their monstrous forms and are cornering Mizki when the character that's played by the guy from Good Times comes in and tries to knock the control metal out of her hand. And it is flung out of her hand and is accidentally swallowed by Dr. East, who then, in a fantastic Jaws reference, you see the Guyver's fin of his helmet come out of Dr. East's chest, and it goes, and the fin comes out and it goes doo-doo, 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 and there's like blood spraying, and it's revealed that the Guyver and Sean have fully regenerated, and they just
insane.
He just comes out. Did you ever expect that in this movie?
No, and it doesn't make any sense because why the fuck couldn't Dr. Tetsu regenerate? And why couldn't the rest of them regenerate?
No,
Well,
it was the Guyver, not the Zona.
Well, whatever. Fuck off. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's just like, this is such a roller coaster of a movie. Like, how often do you really see a main character die in a movie? Even though we knew he wasn't going to be dead the whole time, but like, even still, you know, the fact that he's dead for like 20-ish minutes of the movie and then is revived, it's an awesome little twist. And he also says the great line of, "I've been rejected by death."
Yeah.
Right before he goes to
Rejected by death.
he goes to fight all of the zoonoids, and he's kicking ass, and Sean finally kills the main character from The Hills Have Eyes by ripping the bone part of his head open, and you see some nice blood and gore. It's pretty awesome. Then they go to escape when Reed suddenly, and Reed is of course Mark Hamill, suddenly starts transforming horribly into a zoonoid.
My God.
It's honestly one of the grossest things probably just in a movie, period. It initially starts with his leg splitting in half vertically. So imagine your heel separating from the rest of your foot along with the back half of your leg. It's fucking gross, and it looks so disgusting. And then you see his face, and he has like that thing coming out of his mouth, and he's pretty much just going like,
Quite a bit of the budget had to go to this scene.
oh yeah. And he pretty much transforms into like a giant
Like a
Like a-
scorpion? Or...
No, it's like
It
a
looks like
a cockroach or something.
it kind of resembles an arachnid from Starship Troopers.
Yeah, Yeah, that's pretty fair. Which
It's afraid!
it's afraid. Which is a horrible thing, but he pretty much transforms and then just dies, and then Sean has the final showdown with Balkis, where he's revealed to be a giant super duper Zoa Lord.
He
can't fit all the way through the doorway.
Yes, it's almost like they only had the budget for half a puppet. So they were like, put him in the doorway. It's this huge puppet, though. It looks great. Like,
yeah.
I want to make that clear that the special effects in this movie are actually pretty fucking awesome. They're, so, I'm not knocking the special effects, but it's just funny.
The battle sequences are not as well.
Yeah. Because the choreography is pretty disappointing, but
non-existent.
it ends up, obviously, the Guyver is about to get bested yet again, but then he has the ultimate cannon blast thing that destroys the Zoa Lord and obliterates the laboratory, and Sean deactivates the Guyver armor, and him and Misky leave Kronos, and they all look on at the end. And at the very end, you see one of Reed's the associates, followed him around for pretty much the whole movie, with the guy from Good Times looking on, and we get the epic line, "Dynamite."
Because fuck you, that's why.
What a movie. What a roller coaster of a movie. There's rapping, there's action, there's romance, there's body horror.
Romance.
This movie really is for everyone. It's got something in there for everyone. You like David Cronenberg style fucking mutilation?
It's like the rhubarb of movies.
Connor, let's just talk about what do we think about this movie?
Well, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a good movie. It's a fun fucking movie to watch with your bros and talk and geek out about.
Right.
It's just funny because it's one of those things that we talked about where there are so many cool things you could do with this mythology. This movie doesn't do any of it.
No.
It doesn't even really try.
Yeah.
In fairness, it doesn't go down swinging. It's like, all right,
We're going down.
Man.
I mean, Mark Hamill. I love the cheesy ass Mark Hamill performance. Him as I want to see the film noir of this character.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, the Chris Nolan Guyver trilogy.
Where Max is in the whole time, but he's like the
Max is like Commissioner Gordon. Dude, I'd be into that. That could be a great movie.
And
Where's Misky?
Yeah, the first one is halfway through the movie. What was his name? Sam? Is that the main character?
Sean.
Sean. Whatever. Starts with an S. Sean dies in the middle of the first movie. Then plot twist. Mitski attaches herself to the Guyver and becomes a Guyver for the rest of the franchise. And only Mark Hamill knows it's her. So it's kind of like a Batman Commissioner Gordon thing.
That'd be...
Well, Commissioner Gordon doesn't know it's Bruce Wayne, but you know what I'm saying.
He's the only one who couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne was Batman?
All it takes to do the right thing could be as simple as putting a coat over a boy's shoulders. Why does he talk in riddles? I don't get it.
You just see Gary Oldman blank staring. What?
The fuck was he talking about?
Oh, man. But, just because I don't want to forget about this, me and Bucky also, with the news of there being a Starship Troopers reboot, we've decided that we want a Force Awakens style of Starship Troopers reboot where, Johnny Rico is still in the movie, but he's really old, and there's just one part in the movie where it's his reveal, and he goes, "Come on, you apes. You want to live forever?" Shooting at all of them. It'd be so... He's got a scar on his face for some reason.
That is one of the best lines, I think, in movie history.
Yeah. So, Buck, what'd you think overall about the Guyver?
Overall, it is not good.
Look, okay, so when we initially told you about the Guyver, and we watched that that video on YouTube about it, did you think it was actually going to be like an entertaining watch?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be entertaining. Like, I didn't expect it to be a good movie, but I expected to be entertained by it, and I wasn't at all, really.
So what you're saying is you'll skip out on the Blu-ray.
Yes, absolutely. Unless I can find it for an absolute bargain.
Oh man, I love this movie. It is. I'm not nostalgic for many things, but boy, do I get.
I was gonna say the nostalgic goggles do come out when it comes to this particular.
I
movie.
get the tingles when I watch and think about the Guyver.
I mean, there's good things in it, and there's things that are funny that I'll definitely. I mean, I can see myself watching this movie again. I just would have to be in the right mood.
The second movie also has a recast Sean in David Hayter, who voices Solid Snake in the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
What did he have to do with X2? Wasn't he?
He's the writer of X2. He wrote X2. He wrote Watchmen, or like the kind of screenplay. I think
Like an early draft or
something like that. But yeah, and he's actually a much better actor.
Yeah.
So he's also not like Sean is like totally a doofus and a big nerd in like this first movie, but in the second movie he's like cool and like
he's like weathered by
the
Guyver.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie.
And Miski's also recast. And
yeah. It's a great time. So that was pretty much it, guys. That was our review of the Guyver. Me and Connor love this movie. Buck doesn't like this movie.
I don't like it, but I like certain things.
Okay, final thing. Connor, would you recommend it?
I think it's an experience you should try to just have. Like, again, we're going to go with, for the first one, PG-13 Beetleborgs. Yeah. I don't think that holds as true for the second one.
The second one is like what it just should have been.
Yeah.
Because like the second movie is still, like I said earlier, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's schlock, but like it's cool schlock.
It's great Saturday morning. That's what to me. I want to watch these movies on a Saturday morning after having like spent the night with like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you wake up and you like
Saturday morning cartoons.
You have a bowl of cereal, you watch, but it's rated R and it's
yes, exactly. Buck, would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I would recommend checking it out just to experience it for yourself. It's definitely worth that. And like I said, there's good things to take away from it, like the one-liners and the humor, and I mean you can appreciate the practical effects too. The Guyver suit in this is awesome. It looks great. And the ending sequence, the final battle sequence, which is the last like 20 minutes of the movie or 25 minutes, whatever. It's not, that part really isn't bad. That's probably the best part of the entire movie. And that was my favorite. So you could get some enjoyment out of that, I'm sure. But I would recommend to check it out, and also check out the anime, because I came across the 2006 anime on Blu-ray at Disc Replay, and I blind bought it, and I watched the first, I think about 4 episodes, and I was really impressed, and I really enjoyed it. So you might watch this movie and get burnt out, but check out the anime and the second one. I'm definitely looking forward to the second one.
And also the other anime, which I have in my I have both. Just Connor has my copy of the 2006 anime.
There's 3 different ones actually.
You had both.
Oh,
there's
it's lost to Connor's
my collection of Nate stuff.
Yeah,
there's Guyver Out of Control, Guyver Bio Booster Armor, and Guyver the Bio Boosted Armor.
Yeah, mine. Let's see here. I think the anime I have is the original.
That's the second one.
This one? Short.
Yeah,
Or is that just a movie?
probably.
It's this one. I have this whole one. So
Nice.
the Guyver Bio Booster Armor.
From 89?
From 89 to 92. I have this one. So,
That's cool.
yeah, this used to be like extremely valuable, and I found it at Disc Replay for like $10 when the like set that I have normally, it was like listed for like 150 something at the time, but it's gone down in price.
I did check on Amazon, and this series, the 12 episode series, was originally broken up onto 2 DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
Volume 1 is like not worth anything, or Volume 2 is worth a lot, like, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have it all together now somewhere.
So yeah, and of course I highly recommend Guyver to any, really monster movie fan, horror fan.
Good times.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you get a little sneak peek into that character after Good Times, because the Guyver is a sequel to Good Times. Really, it's just an awesome movie. It's a stupid superhero movie, so if you're into that, you'll find some enjoyment out of this. And that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening in on our review / just general discussion about the Guyver. I'm one of your hosts, Nate, and I've been joined with Connor.
How's your sex life?
And Stephen Buckrop.
This could be trouble.
And we will see you next time on Out of the Basement.